Talk about the first one, employment demand. Employment demand. Now, let's deal with this portion first. Remember I said, try and understand what's happening first before we look at does it mean to us, okay? Let's take a look at the big picture. Let me ask you guys, why do you think companies nowadays, employers nowadays are very cautious in hiring? Gary says VUCA, Agnes says cost conscious, and budget is another issue. What else? Cost and inflation. Okay, somebody said bad economy. Let's take a look at the underlying factors. In essence, right, there's a lot of uncertainty that's happening in the world today. Uncertainty in the world makes business, companies, organizations more cautious because they don't know what's going to happen, right? This doomsday clock, I took a picture of this a few months ago, right? When there was a new escalation in the Israeli war in Gaza, and it was so close to midnight, 90 seconds to midnight. At that time already, a lot of people were worried. Now, I won't be surprised if I try and look at the doomsday clock again. It probably won't have moved too much away from this. It might even have sneaked into 60 seconds per midnight. So there's a lot of uncertainty that's happening out there. This thing between US and China, and some people say it's China against the rest of the world and all that. Whatever the reasons, there is conflict in terms of trade, right? This is driving a lot of companies to look at uncertainty as, hey, you need to plan ahead in case something bad happens. Okay? Worst case scenario planning. Okay? One other which I just added in a few days ago after the big announcement is what? This thing is happening in the presidential election. Right? What happens in the US, I don't think you can say that it stays in the US, right? It has implications for people outside of the US as well. And companies, many of the major corporations are linked to what's happening in the US. All right? So we also have to take a look at that. Okay? A lot of uncertainty. So companies are operating in this field of increased uncertainty and tension. So that's why there's caution. But despite the caution, there's still companies who want to hire. Why do you think, despite all the uncertainties, they still are looking at hiring, but they're hiring very specific types of jobs or very specific types of people? Why do you think they're still hiring despite the uncertainty? Okay, somebody mentioned need specific skills, they want to expand, get more revenue, expanding, talent crunch for niche skills. Right? Somebody says possible, turnover, right? In essence, if you look at it, despite all this, companies, they want to survive, right? Which means what? They have to do a few things, right? They have to cope with all the new things that's coming, new and uncertain things that's coming. They want to look at new business areas. So they're hiring people to help them with this, okay? Somebody mentioned new technology, innovation drive, because nowadays, like it or not, technology, the way technology affects our day-to-day life is here to stay. So they are going to hire people who are comfortable with technology, who are able to leverage on technology to help the companies move ahead. Yeah, the companies move ahead. All right? And talking about technology, I think it's a known fact, right? Technology-related jobs are in demand now. Okay? More and more companies are looking at people to fill new technology roles, right? In fact, this I extracted from a study done earlier this year. Okay, so you can see that, cyber security all the way down, even project manager. This is what's happening now, right? Employment demand.
Thanks for clicking on this short video. This is an extraction from a longer video of a workshop. The link to this longer video is in the description below. There, we discuss other facets of the same issue discussed here. Do take a look too.
Okay, so let's see how we can deal with this. Let's talk about the first one first. What does it mean to me? How do all those changes affect you, the job seeker, you, the career-minded person? Let me start off first by telling you about this notion. Companies are risk-averse, right? They're becoming more risk averse. They don't want to take risks anymore. Okay? Which means what? They're taking longer to hire people. And that's going to affect you, right? Because gone are the days where they make a snap decision and say they're going to be very cautious and interview more and more people, or they're going to go through multiple rounds of interviews. Okay? Competitive job market. Now, this works both ways, right now. If you're looking for a new job, you are faced with a lot more competition. That's one thing. From the company's point of view, right? If they want to hire the right person, they are also being faced with other companies wanting to hire that same person as well, right? So competition is strong and competition is high in the job market. Both ways. It cuts both ways, right? More and more companies and individuals are willing to invest in talent, their own talent, in their company's talent. They want to develop people, right? To stay in a company to help them, right? Help them what? Help them solve problems. Okay? So this notion of problem solving becomes more and more critical nowadays. So you have to understand what problems you solve. Then obviously this thing about technology industry, it is growing. How is this going to impact us as a job seeker, as a career individual, right? Then obviously you cannot ignore this notion of technology and how it drives industry growth, right? You have to get on board or get out, right? That is a key thing. Okay? So you may have more things to say about how it impacts you, because sometimes this is a very personal point. But I hope you get the drift here. Okay? So this is the first part. What does it all mean to you? So, given all these things I just listed in the orange, right? How are you feeling about all these things? Okay. What are you feeling right now? Someone said tiring. Well, it could be tiring, yeah? Stressed, anxiety is there. What you's not updated, you feel left behind. Yeah. So really, in a sense, right, you're very anxious. Someone mentioned anxious, right? You're very insecure. You're very insecure. Are there any positives or not? Are there any positives? Those of you, remember I said the emotions could be negative, but it also could be positive. And Gary said excited. Yeah, and right? You think about this, all these things that's happening now. At the end of the day, right? Change comes opportunities, right? So we need to look at these changes as opportunities for us. Opportunities for us. All right. So let's examine. We have expressed all the uncertainty, the insecurity, the anxiety, excited. Let's understand, why are we feeling like this? Some people are saying, wondering what's the next best step. Some people are not sure what to do. Okay. Some people say, oh, I need to learn. I know what else. Why are you feeling like this? We need to understand. You are anxious because what? Anxious because what? You are insecure because what? Somebody mentioned uncertain future, right? Taking longer. You are worried about the competition. Some people say, maybe the whole thing is so unstable, right? You fear that, hey, I'm going to lose my job. Somebody mentioned relevance, right? Relevance. Is there an opportunity for you to grow, whether it's in terms of the salary to meet higher costs of living, all these things. Insecurity about, do you need a steep learning curve to all these things. Now, for those of you, right, like Gary, for example, who's excited, why are you excited? Those of you who've expressed positive feelings, why are you excited? Some of you would just say, hey, this is an opportunity. Flux can be an exceptional opportunity. Yes. Somebody said, I'm always positive as I embrace changes as opportunities. Very good, right? So really, at the end of the day, behind every change, yes, there's anxiety, there's things that we need to do, and there's certain sense of negative feelings, but we also have to recognize some positive aspects to this, okay? So this is the first portion, dealing with the present. So I hope that, you see the benefit of this. Going through these three buckets helps you to separate the emotions out, okay? So that the emotions don't get muddled by what you need to do what is the real reason? Because this last bucket here, the real reason behind your anxiety or what, or even your opportunistic feelings, will lead to what you can do in the next phase, which is the moving. Okay, it's the next phase you're moving forward. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right. So again, if we move forward under employment demand, right, what are the 3 buckets that we need to put into? So the first one, what are the possibilities under all those things? The employment trends, the employment demand. What are the possibilities you can see? Well, let me kickstart this first. Obviously, some of you may think, oh, I think I'm going to change job, I want to change career. That is a possibility. That is a possibility. Yeah. Another possibility I'm sure many of you are thinking of, especially for those of you who are more optimistic, right, is to embrace technology or learn new skills to leverage on technology, or even go to technology-related jobs, or even to review the jobs that you have, the career that you have, and see how you can use technology to help you, right? That's also another possibility. Yeah. This one, I really want to highlight, because more and more when I work with my clients and I work with workshop participants, many people come up to me and say, hey, Yuan, this is the age of growth, the age of opportunity, the age of the renaissance. You know why? Because of all the things happening, there's actually much more reason, much more ease for us to actually start something new, start our own business. I'm actually in that boat as well, right? I've been a career coach for 10 years. In the last 5 years or so, I really migrated to actually looking at how technology can help me and what I need to do in my job, my practice as my career coach. Right? So again, don't ignore that. I also want to be a bit more optimistic here by suggesting to those of you who are already very comfortable with technology, who are already very comfortable with the skills related to problem solving, you now have the opportunity to start looking at, hey, am I being undervalued? Am I being underpaid? Maybe I should look at how I can increase my value with my current company, or maybe if I go to a new company where I can use my skills, my new skills much better, I will get paid much better. Okay, so again, that is another opportunistic way of looking at it. All right, okay, so again, possibilities. How then do we decide what possibilities are relevant for us, right? How do we decide what action to take? Really, there's a few things that you need to do first before you can decide any of those things work for you. Those of you who've been to my past workshops before, you will be familiar with some of the concepts that I'm going to mention over the next few points here. Okay, so first things first, you need to know where you stand in terms of your own value add. Okay, what is value add? Basically, is your skills, your experience, and how relevant you are. You need to do a stock take on that first. Okay, you need to decide, should you reskill, which is increasing your versatility, or should you upskill, which means you want to specialize more in that area? This is something you have to decide. Okay, you need to look at how all those options here, how do they match with who you are? VIPS, values, interests, personality, strengths. Okay, how do any of those options or any other option match up to who you are? You need to understand that. Okay, then once you have decided on all those things, then you have to start thinking, okay, how am I going to communicate this to the rest of the world? How am I going to brand myself, right? How am I going to tell my network that this is what I want to do, right? So those are the things that you need to understand and consider while you are doing your action to decide which of the options are possible for you. Okay. Now, incidentally, I do a lot of these type of workshops that help my clients and workshop participants go through all these questions. So I've got things like redesigning your career, personal branding, attacking the hidden job market, developing a career switching strategy. All right. So we started looking, right, at actions. We started looking at options. We started looking at actions. Then remember what I said. We need to understand who can help us. What type of help do we need? All those things that we need to do here. What type of help? Obviously, the first thing I would always recommend, being a career coach myself, is to maybe talk to a career coach, right? Career coaches are trained to help job seekers like you know all these things, right? They're not going to tell you what these things you should do. They are going to point to you, hey, you need to consider all this. Then it's up to you to decide. Okay, it's up to you to action. Right? Somebody mentioned network. Talking to your circle of people, right? You can not only help you gain insights to all those things, but it can give you pointers as well, right? I'm sure I no need to go into all the benefits of networking, relationship building, right? It's a given fact. I'm sure you all know this. Okay? So that's one big factor as well. If you want to start your own business, then maybe you want to start talking to people who have been in the same boat, or organizations who are designed, who have been set up to help people do startups. So these are some of the things that you can go, these are some of the places you can go to get help. I want to make sure we all know this very, very important source of help as well. It is our family, right? Many a time when I work with my clients, while they are so focused on all these other aspects, are you missing out the biggest component of help you can find, the easiest component or source of help you can find? Many a time, they need to be reminded that family can be a big help as well, giving you a source of emotional support. And believe you me, in this journey of coping with all the things that's happening to us, having strong emotional support is such a big bonus, and you should not and cannot ever ignore that. We talked about employment demand. We went through the initial stages of looking at what it all means, right? In other words, a description of what's happening out there. Then we looked at dealing with the present, the 3 buckets, what it all means to us, how you're feeling, and then why you are feeling that way. Then we started looking at the ways to move forward. So we started looking at what are the opportunities that are possible for you out there. From those opportunities, you then need to look at what actions you need to take, right? Segment down all the actions. It all depends on which possibilities you have. I mentioned all those pointers already, right? Then you start looking at who can help you.
Hi, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you've seen and can't wait for the next one, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel in the link below. See you soon.